welcome to the evening show. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. We're going to start off with our segment called the Evening Oval, which is a roundtable discussion. I'm your host, Ryan Haroff. I have a beard that I'm growing for a Halloween costume, and God, does it look terrible on camera. With me today we have Delaney Murray.
Hello.
Katrina Kapranica. And Nathan Hart. Delaney was the only one who spoke because she's sitting next to me and that makes her excited.
Yes.
Tonight we'll be talking about two major topics. We're going to be talking about the recent controversy surrounding the NFL, and then also the recent sort of controversy regarding Donald Trump's response to Puerto Rico, specifically tossing paper towels into the audience. So to start off, I want to go with the NFL. For anyone at home who might not be familiar with this situation, basically the president and his supporters have been calling out the NFL and many of its players for kneeling during the national anthem as a protest for police brutality and other oppression of minority groups in the United States. Donald Trump has frequently tweeted saying that we need to change the rules of the NFL to say that you must stand for the pledge. Many people have come out and said that they don't think that is the case and that free speech should be allowed in the NFL. Various coaches have made headlines with their varying policies on it, but let's see what our cast here thinks about it. So what do you guys think? Should we have to stand for the NFL Pledge of Allegiance?
I mean, not really. I think this debate's kind of stupid. I mean, honestly, like, we always say, like, you should support the countries, you should support the troops. But pretty much any active service member, most of them will say, yeah, I'm here to defend people's rights, and one of those rights is to maybe not respect the flag and what I'm doing, and I have to understand that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Freedom of expression. And a lot of people say that it's disrespectful to the troops, but the Army, like football team,
Like the football team for the Army?
For the Army?
exists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The U.S. Army football team took a knee for the national anthem. I'm all for it. I think especially if you are a celebrity and you have that kind of publicity and the power to, protest something, then why not take advantage of that, you know?
Nathan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a silly debate because honestly it comes down to symbolic worth and the amount of value we attribute to flags and such. Honestly, when you die, are you going to be thinking about whether or not you stood or kneeled for every single national anthem?
I think that's the weird thing about this. I mean, this is true of a lot of things with President Trump, but he's choosing now, when we have all these hurricanes going on, he's still trying to get health care repealed, all of these situations that we're dealing with, and he's going after the NFL.
Yeah.
It seems like a weird target, doesn't it?
It just seems very petty at most.
I feel like at some point when dealing with North Korea, he heard the term nuclear football and was like, NFL, oh, that's who I need to go after next.
Yeah, it's like you're aiming at a dartboard and then you end up hitting the wall by the bar. Like, you're not even anywhere close to where you should be caring about.
Correlation. Yep, that sounds about like our president, though.
Maybe it's because he was always been bad at football, and this is resentment coming out.
Oh, I'd
I mean,
love
it's
to-
unlocking President Trump's backstory.
I'd
This
love
might
to
be-
see Trump play football, though. Can you imagine?
We should have recruited him for a flag football game.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'll call him right now. Actually, can we get on that?
Can we, hey,
Yeah,
PR?
can we call
Yeah.
Donald Trump?
Can you get
Can you get him
in
on the
touch?
horn?
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll listen to
Yeah.
us.
Although, speaking of Trump playing football, he did show off some basketball skills, didn't he, Ryan?
Well, thank you for that transition, Delaney. Yes.
That was smooth.
During his visit to Puerto Rico to help deal with the fallout of the recent hurricane that swept through the area, Donald Trump was seen on video. They had set up a table for him to be handing out supplies to hurricane victims, and for whatever reason, I'm not even going to try to explain why he chose to do this. Rather than hand the supplies out to the victims for a great photo op, he started picking things up and tossing them into the crowd. I almost wish he had a t-shirt.
Yeah, much
you
like
know?
it was like a basketball game where the cheerleaders throw
Yeah.
their little prizes.
Now this is a weird topic in terms of the controversy around it because it's simultaneously, I understand why people are upset that that's what he did, but I also am not. It's not like he took the paper towels, opened them, wiped his mouth, and then handed them to someone. They still got to the people, although I agree the method that he gave them out was a little, I wouldn't even say, at least to me, that it was necessarily offensive. It was just weird. It was just a
Very
weird...
Donald
Weird.
Trump?
It was
Yeah.
silly. That's the only word for it.
Or-
now is not the time.
Or how at the end of it, he was like, there's so much love in this room, and you're like,
For
oh.
who?
Yeah, and then meanwhile, in the back, you can see everyone just kind of looking at him
They
like,
haven't
what
had
did he
clean
just...
water.
I feel Jesus in this Chili's tonight.
There's-
Mike, with the Office references there.
First of all, I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
I'm sorry.
Fake fan.
I'm a big fan.
It's a weird thing to think about. Like, I almost, this is something that happens a lot with President Trump and his actions. I always want to see, just like, I wish we had a device that you could just stick in his ear and just constantly be broadcasting his train of thought. Because I want to know what, like, because you know that wasn't an impulse. No one sees paper towels and go, aha! Like, there must have been like, he's like, okay, how am I going to do this?
How am I gonna make this
What's
about
the most
me?
effective way to distribute these paper towels?
Via arm.
Via arm.
And you get a paper towel, and you get a paper towel.
This is it reminds me of the time George Bush was like talking about something really serious, like terrorism or something, and he was like, "No, watch this drive," and he like gulped.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it makes me think about back when people used to criticize President Obama for trying to seem too cool, like he was trying to, not like people called him aloof all the time, but I remember there was a very specific point midway through his presidency where people were just saying, like, I think it was right before the 2012 election, where people were saying he was just like going on too many talk shows, he was trying to seem too much like a nice guy, like almost too approachable. And I wish we had a moment of someone on Fox News being like, do you really need to go and do a lip sync battle? Are you kidding me? Like, come on, what are you doing? And then smash cut to Trump hurling paper towels into the crowd. There's a lot of love in this room. It's a good thing this wasn't a real tragedy like Katrina. He said that also. That was the thing he said to someone, like while giving a speech to people.
Just give me a second. I'm
Yeah.
almost done with my twitchy eye. All right, we're good.
It takes some money, hits you in waves, doesn't it? Like a hurricane.
We have both
That
of
wasn't too
hurricanes
soon.
sitting right
That
next to each other.
yeah, that's too much.
Oh yeah, we do have two hurricanes because we got Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Nate.
Ha!
I'm wrecking the South, y'all.
Nothing
Yeah.
ever gets named after me. Not even a keychain.
They don't make Delaney keychains?
They do not.
Actually, I can never find Katrina stuff either.
Well, I could see.
I found one in Mexico.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Do we have any other topics, Ryan?
Well, no, I was gonna say. I mean, hopefully soon there will be a Hurricane Ryan and a Hurricane Delaney. That way we'll have the full evening show cast. I feel like you'd be a good like Hawaii area.
Okay.
Hurricane. I myself, I'd want to go somewhere that most hurricanes don't go. If we could somehow get a hurricane
To Michigan.
like to Seattle or something, like somewhere like still coastal, but just like Seattle, because I was born in Seattle. Anyway,
John F. Kennedy, like, we will put a hurricane in Seattle.
I'm liking the accent there. You're quite the actor, Nathan.
I am an
I've
actor.
always said that about you. And speaking of actors, our guest for this week is Rocky Horror Picture Show. We had some great time with them while they were doing their rehearsals. Let's take a look at that right now.